If you're someone who wants to learn to paint, but you haven't got started yet, I'd like to know if one of these 4 scenarios describes you. You don't have the time. You don't know where to start. You don't have the talent. And you think you're too old to paint. Did that just describe you in any of those ways? Or are you in several of those categories? Because when I started to learn to paint 22 years ago, I was definitely in several of those categories. Let's talk about them. I don't have the time. Well, that was definitely me, because 22 years ago, I was sent home from a transplant rejection and was told to basically get my affairs in order. Well, I already had my affairs in order because I could see the handwriting on the wall, but I still wanted to learn to paint before the sands of time ran out of my hourglass. So I decided I wanted to learn to paint, and so I started every single day. And let me just tell you this, I was horrible, absolutely awful. Couldn't get any worse than that. And I was devastated by that because I really wanted to learn to do that. So I found a teacher and I went for a weekend workshop in Bardstown, Kentucky. I spent well over $1,000 and I came home with what I thought was a beautiful painting. And then I knew I could do it. And that's when I started painting 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 hours a day, because I felt, and I'd been told, that I was a short timer. So I really didn't have a lot of time to fiddle around. I had to get with it. Learn to do that. So I found a teacher and I went for a weekend workshop in Bardstown, Kentucky. I spent well over $1,000 and I came home with what I thought was a beautiful painting. And then I knew I could do it. And that's when I started painting 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 hours a day, because I felt, and I'd been told, that I was a short timer. So I really didn't have a lot of time to fiddle around. I had to get with it. So you don't know where to start. Okay, well, I've been there. I've been in the big box store with the deer in the headlights look, going, oh my gosh, what do I need? What do I buy? I'll just buy some of everything. I have hundreds of dollars of art supplies that I don't know how to use even now, and they don't work with the paints that I use. So I'll bet you have some supplies sitting around your house that you don't use or know how to use either. We're going to work on that. We're going to figure out, that's all figure-outable stuff, and we're going to figure it all out. So you don't think you have the talent. This one really gets to me because there are people who come to this earth with talent just oozing out of them, but the rest of us, we have to work at it. And why? Because it's a skill, and you can learn a skill, you can practice a skill, and you can get better at a skill. I don't think that Michael Phelps hopped into a pool and came out with a gold medal around his neck. Nope. He spent hours, days, weeks, months, years in the pool before he came out with the hardware that he's famous for. And let's not forget about Michael Jordan, probably arguably the best basketball player on the planet. And he was cut from his sophomore basketball team in high school. Now, what if he'd have given up and said, man, I suck. I am no good. I can't even make my high school team. What if he'd have done that? He didn't. He didn't give up. He just kept working. He knew what he had. He knew that there was some talent in there. But he had to work hard to get it. And he had to work hard to get it out of there. So he did. What if he'd have given up? Think of the millions of dollars that he would have missed because he gave up. Think about, let's go back to Michael Phelps for a minute. If somebody else had spent the time in the pool that he did, wow, maybe they would have half of his hardware, but they didn't. And let's not forget Vincent Van Gogh, because the poor man painted in a few short years, in less than 11 years, he painted over 800 pieces. And that was not any drawings or sketching or watercolors or anything. These were just full-fledged paintings. And he never sold one, except he did sell one to a family member. Why? Because he was no good? No. It's because his art did not fit the time frame. It didn't match up with what they thought was great art at the time. Well, people think it's pretty great art right now, don't they? So, then you think you're too old to learn to paint. Well, I'm living proof you're never too old. I didn't start painting till I was 48 years old. And yes, I'm 70. So, and I'm still learning. I'm still working on it. I'm still improving. I'm still trying to learn things and improve every single time I come into my studio to paint. So, you're never too old. Grandma Moses was 76 before she painted her first painting. And why did she start so late? Because she had so much arthritis in her fingers that she couldn't quilt anymore. So she turned her creative juices into painting. You know, we all have creativity inside of us. And sometimes life gets in the way and we don't have the time. We're raising families. We've got jobs. We've got all these things going on. But we can, we're never too old to learn to paint, or we're never too old to learn to do anything, actually. If you want to learn to paint, if you truly want to learn to paint, you're going to find the time. You're going to figure out what it is you need. You're going to realize talent is not the problem. And you're also going to realize you're never too old to learn. And if you really do want to learn to paint, I would love to have you join my 3-day art challenge, September 13th through the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be inside a private Facebook group. And it's free, but you do have to join. There's a link in the description, and you can sign up and join. Many people are joining already. They're in there telling what they want to accomplish. They're introducing themselves, telling us where they're from, and all that great stuff. Here's what we're going to learn during the challenge. First off, we're going to work on that artist mindset. we're going to try to dispel some of the things that little thing on your shoulder says, you can't do this. You're not good enough for this. You don't have any talent. You can't do it. You can do it. If you want to learn to do it, you can do it. We're going to talk about the tools of the trade. We're going to learn those things. What is it you need to paint with? What's the difference between this kind of brush and that kind of brush, this kind of paint and that kind of paint? We're going to learn those things, and you will use that forever. We're also going to spend time on color theory. Now, I cannot possibly teach you everything there is to know about color theory in a 3-night challenge because I'm still learning 22 years later. But we're going to get a good foundation under us. We're going to understand how color works and how color mixes. We're going to talk about values, which in my heart of hearts, I believe that if there's something wrong in your painting, 95% of the time, it's in the values. So we're going to figure out how does that work and how do I repair it or make it that it doesn't happen. We're also going to make friendships. We're going to encourage each other, and we are going to have fun. There's no doubt about that. So if you want to learn to paint, I'm here to help in any way that I can. Why am I here? Because 22 years ago, when I first started painting and I was so horrible and it was so hard to get started, I promised myself if I ever started to get it, I would teach any beginner who wanted to learn. That's all I teach is beginners. I teach private lessons here in my studio. I teach group classes all over in southern Indiana, northern Kentucky. And I have classes on my website. I have a YouTube channel. I am a teaching fool. And I only teach beginners. And so you can benefit from that. I bet you're wondering why I call it the Heart Challenge. HEART. And I do that because it was in my heart to learn to paint. It was bugging me every day. I've done every kind of creative thing there is under the sun. I started sewing my own clothes when I was 8 years old. I'm a certified florist. I've done decorative painting. I've done every kind of crafty thing there is to do. But nothing has taken my heart like painting. And I believe there's a lot of you out there that feel the very same way. And I want to help you get there. Think that if you felt like you could only figure out some of this stuff, you'd be painting every single day. You'd love it. You'd have a wonderful time at it. You'd have a sense of accomplishment. And we're going to figure out the stuff that beginners need to know. It's just really important to get some good instruction in the beginning underneath you so you can move forward quicker. At the end of this 3-day challenge, you're going to understand values. I promise. You're going to understand them. You're going to have some color theory fundamentals underneath you. You're going to have a better artist mindset, and you're going to have fun. Because I'm going to have fun. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, click that link in the description, and let's start slinging some paint real soon.